I'm David Pierce of the Scripps Institution of Oceanography. I've been doing climate research at Scripps for about 25 years now, looking at a variety of issues such as western snowpack, warming in the oceans, and how California is going to respond to climate change. So tonight I'm going to talk about climate change and how we know it's happening and what it's going to do to our region. I'm going to look at things like atmospheric rivers, which are these great streams of water vapor that come and hit the California coast and give us our biggest precipitation events, and how they're likely to change in the future. I'm going to talk some about sea level rise and what it's likely to do to our local beaches, and try to give an overall summary of how climate change is going to affect our region and economy. Well, there's quite a few different things people can do to address climate change. Personally, I think the biggest is to ask our political leaders to do something about it, because we have a good history in this country of addressing problems once we get our minds around the fact that we want to. So I'm not worried about the fact that we could address climate change. I'm just worried about the fact we aren't addressing climate change. So one of the biggest issues here in California is our water supply. We actually, in San Diego, we import over 2/3 of our water, mostly from the Colorado River, but some from Northern California as well. So we're really dependent on these remote water supplies. In the Colorado River, warming is going to reduce the availability of water, and that's going to have an impact on us because we're literally at the end of the pipe for Colorado River water. There's huge demands on it. Northern California is interesting. There's probably going to be a little bit more water in Northern California in the future, but it's going to change its form. So right now, when it comes mostly in the winter in the form of snow, which is our natural reservoir that we count on for our water supply. In the future, that's going to melt earlier, come more as rain, and a lot of it will be lost to the oceans unless we change how our water system works. So those changes, in effect, are going to reduce our water supply, even if there's more water available. I'm going to start maybe a little bit tangentially, but I personally find this interesting, so I hope you do too. This is from 2012. And it is a screenshot of a news report about a wildfire that was happening that was drenching Ranchita. And to me, one of the interesting things about this was this fire was started by lightning strikes. And not in San Diego County, but in the Sierra Nevada, a large proportion of wildfires are started by lightning strikes. So they have a natural origin. But we also know that they can have a human-caused origin as well. So this is another screenshot of some news reports from the Eagle Fire. And that was in July of 2011. It caused a lot of damage and injured people. And this was arson. So I just bring this up because I think you know intuitively that there are things that can have both natural causes and human causes. And we shouldn't be too quick to run to judgment about what it is. There are these amazing things called greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. They radiate heat in your face, and we're putting more of them into the atmosphere. Now this is old physics. Like I said, a lot of this was understood about 1850. Very boring, fall asleep when you're talking about it. So the only problem is that these greenhouse gases are increasing in the atmosphere.
I noticed that climate change is extremely political, and I've thought about it a lot. I'm into advocacy and not just, I love sitting here and listening to you and watching specials and reading the paper, and I don't want you to put you on the spot, but is there any way we can, as citizens, advocate for some more change? We can't just always blame the current administration, but we do have assembly members, state members, etc. I don't need to tell you. Is there any group, is there anything that you can recommend that we can do so that our children and grandchildren can have fresh water?
I will offer a couple thoughts for what they're worth. Number one, we live in a liberal state. So, and I think in some ways that maybe dilutes our voice a little bit. I talk to people, I've talked to the state climatologists, okay, I won't say the state, but they know that their farmers are going to get slammed and they can't say it. And if you look at trends in renewable energy prices, they keep coming down. So I do actually have some hope that we would switch to a lower carbon economy, not because, I'm sorry to say this, because we do the morally right thing or we care about our future, but because it's cheaper.